Nuclear showdown with Iran? Welcome to the new Studio C at Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert with Skywatch TV News for Monday, April 13th of 2015. You may be able to hear some construction noise going on in the background. As we've been telling you here in recent weeks, we are still literally moving into the studios as we begin work here at Skywatch TV. This is something you'll be seeing on a regular basis, daily news and analysis, looking at things that are happening in the world that are important and trying to filter them through a biblical and especially a prophetic lens. One of the biggest news items in recent weeks is the nuclear deal that President Obama has declared with the nation of Iran. We've been hearing a lot of criticism about the deal, concern that Iran is going to nuke Israel if and when they get the nuclear bomb, and that this deal will not prevent Iran from getting the bomb. Like many things in the world of geopolitics, rhetoric sometimes gets a little heated and takes leave of facts. We're trying to analyze this through a biblical lens, through a prophetic lens, but also paying heed to Jesus' command that we serve him with all of our hearts, souls, and minds. And sometimes the political considerations outweigh the actual truth of the matter. I've been reading, I am certainly no expert on Islamic eschatology, prophecy, but I've been reading the works of some men who are. And there may be some reasons to relax just a little bit as far as the threat of an Iranian nuke is concerned. First of all, the predominant sect of Islam in Iran is 12er Shia. They are waiting for the 12th Imam to arrive. When the former president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad took office, there were many who were concerned that he was going to try to jumpstart the apocalypse by provoking a war, a conflict with Israel and or the West in order to hurry the return of the 12th Imam. This is not what 12er Shias believe. According to experts in Islamic eschatology, there are some reasons to believe that their religion, their faith, if they take it seriously, and there's reasons to believe that they do, will prevent them from using, or at least discourage them from using, a nuclear weapon against Israel. First and foremost, the 12th Imam, according to their belief, will reemerge from occultation. They believe that, as with the legend of King Arthur, the 12th Imam is in hiding. He's in occultation right now, and will emerge when the time is right, and he's ready to lead the forces of Islam to global victorious jihad. He will return, they believe, when Allah wills it and not a moment before. Secondly, they believe there is nothing that they can do to speed the moment, and more than that, that the global victory that they're looking for must be led by the 12th Imam. So, nuking Israel, nuking the United States, nuking Turkey, anywhere, anyone in the West, Saudi Arabia, would serve no purpose, at least not in terms of hurrying the return of the 12th Imam and bringing Islam to its global victory. Third, the Ayatollahs, like the Sanhedrin in Judea in the first century, Jesus' day, aren't necessarily in a hurry for the 12th Imam to return. You see, right now, the Ayatollahs have a pretty nice life. They've got good food, wives, Rolls Royces, and the 12th Imam returning to take over, take control of Islam, may deprive them of those benefits. And fourthly, just because the nation of Iran is led by fundamentalist Islamic clerics, the Ayatollahs, does not mean that they are not also, like the first century Sanhedrin, master politicians. They understand very well that if they were to launch a nuke against Israel or the United States, they would then very soon find themselves in charge of nothing but a pile of radioactive rubble. Did I mention the wives and the Rolls Royces that they would lose as part of this deal? So there are some reasons to believe that the threat of an Iranian nuke, at least one being used, is not necessarily as dire as some of the critics of this deal would have us believe. Now, does that mean I'm carrying water for President Obama? Absolutely not. Do I believe this is necessarily a good deal? No, I don't. There are some reasons to believe, some very strong incentives for Iran to want a nuclear weapon. First of all, they're engaged in a power struggle with Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. Sunni Islam and Shia Islam are struggling for control in the Middle East. And having a nuclear weapon, obviously, would give Iran some clout in its ongoing proxy wars against the Saudi kingdom, its archenemy. Secondly, the politicians, the Ayatollahs in Iran, have certainly noticed that while the United States had no problem going in and taking out Iraq and Saddam Hussein, we have yet to attack North Korea. North Korea, which is certainly as belligerent as Iraq, certainly guilty of as many human rights abuses as Iraq, but North Korea has a nuclear weapon. Certainly Iran and its leaders understand that if they too possessed a nuclear weapon, they would secure for themselves some measure of protection against an attack by the United States and the West, and perhaps Israel as well. So, is there reason to be concerned about an Iranian nuke? Yes, there is. Still, we know from prophecy that at some point in history, the Gog-Magog War, Ezekiel 38, Persia, Iran, will be part of the coalition that rises up against Israel and is destroyed. If our friend Bill Salas is correct, and that Jeremiah 49, verses 34 through 39, prophesy a future nuclear incident in Iran, it would perhaps be provoked by some act of aggression against Israel or the West. So, I'm not saying we shouldn't be concerned about Iran possessing a nuclear weapon. Certainly they desire one, and they have reasons for doing so. We should just perhaps step back and look at this with a little more objective view and try not to be quite so partisan in our analysis of what is happening. Again, not carrying any water for the president, and I'm certainly not suggesting that we should just step back and allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. But let's look at the facts and try to understand their position from their perspective so that we can respond perhaps more effectively. One other note to bring to talk about, because we've not yet discussed it here on Skywatch TV, and that is the state of our culture here in the United States, the response to the state of Indiana's passage and signing into law of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. It was over the top. The state of Connecticut, for example, the governor there banned all travel by Connecticut state employees to the state of Indiana on state business because of their protest of the law in Indiana. The ironic thing, really the crazy thing about this, is that Connecticut has a similar law on the books that is even more broad than the law in Indiana. But this is the world in which we live, and it's going to get worse. Jesus told his followers to expect persecution, tribulation, and we're just seeing the beginning, the taste of it. And that is what lies ahead for us. Now, should we as Christians protest? Should we support the state of Indiana, the state of Arkansas, other states that have passed such laws? I suggest the answer is yes, because this is more than just about whether or not a photographer or a baker or a florist should be compelled to provide services for a homosexual wedding. This is the tip of the iceberg. Below the surface are services that doctors and other medical personnel might be required to perform if their rights to object on religious grounds are taken away. For example, what happens when a doctor refuses to perform an abortion, or medical researchers refuse to engage in embryonic stem cell research, which by definition requires human cloning? Without their religious right to say, I cannot in good conscience participate in these acts, then, well, they'll be forced to leave their employment and seek employment in another field entirely. This is what the Religious Freedom Restoration Act in Indiana is intended to protect, and laws like it around the country. Some 30 states have signed signed versions of this law into law. Unfortunately, because we are so caught up in the hot button social issue right now of gay marriage, we're losing sight of this. And sadly, because I say this because I like the man, Governor Mike Pence of Indiana, when pressed on this issue by George Stephanopoulos, did not do a very good job of defending the real reasons for this act. It's not just about gay marriage. It's not just about the homosexual lifestyle. There's a lot more at stake here, and we as Christians should be prepared to give a ready defense, as with all things concerning our faith, with gentleness and respect, as difficult as that may sometimes be. This week, Skywatch TV begins a special 5-part series based on the forthcoming book by Tom Horn and Chris Putnam, On the Path of the Immortals. We'll talk to Tom Horn this week. The program airs Tuesday night, that's April 14th, on Christian Television Network, which you can find on DirecTV, Channel 376, Dish Network, Channel 267, and the Glory Star Satellite, Channel 117. If you don't have satellite TV, you'll be able to catch it later this week on YouTube, so remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we're hopefully just days away from being able to officially announce the launch of our Roku channel. So you'll be able to watch not only the weekly Skywatch TV program, but these daily news updates on demand anytime you like with your Roku box. Check out our website at skywatchtv.com. Also, like our Facebook page, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that way you'll get a notice every time we upload a new program, such as this daily news update. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter as well. Tom Horn does a fantastic job of posting news stories that are important, things that you generally don't find in the mainstream media anywhere. And you'll get a quick notice either through the Facebook page or our Twitter feed when you sign up and subscribe to that feed at twitter.com/skywatch_TV. Links to those are at the website, skywatchtv.com. For Skywatch TV, I'm Derek Gilbert.